Hello everybody, welcome to the Boxing Science podcast. You know what, I was just about to say what episode it was and I totally lost count because we haven't done an episode for so long now. I think the last one was in November 2020 with Forrest Griffin. Apologise if you've been waiting for a Boxing Science podcast for so long. The reason why, well, we're going to talk about the reasons why because we've been so busy building the Boxing Science Performance Centre, working with some fantastic athletes. And, you know, people got a little bit sick of podcasts, I think, anyway. And also we're like, it was hard getting our timetables in sync with each other and also waiting on guests as well. You know, we want high quality guests. Mm-hmm. And when they're high quality, they're often busy as well in their jobs and working with some high quality athletes. So from now on, we're going to be doing little chats like this, using some of our Q&A sessions if you've seen them on YouTube and Instagram. Also getting some of the fighters down and having a bit of a chinwag with them. And also we're still going to be having guest speakers on the air as well. So no further ado, I'll let it over to you, Alan. I haven't even said that yet. Yeah, if people are just listening and not seeing it on the video. But yeah, I'm joined by fellow co-founder and scientist, Dr. Alan Ruddock.
Yeah.
Hi
everyone. Again.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have these chats to give everyone a bit of insight into what's been going on. I mean, everyone sees all the fantastic work and all the training that you do with the boxers and athletes and all the fantastic work that's going on and has gone on, and all the hard work you put in over COVID before we had the Performance Centre and all the fantastic stuff that we've got here at the Performance Centre now. And I just think, when we look at the quality of work that you can do here, when you look at the test results that we're seeing as well, in particular Lerone and Terry, just that unbelievable improvements in fitness. And I think, not only have we got some of the best kit that we can get here, and we've got some of the best gear, but we're also using it to its proper full potential and the athletes are getting most out of every session. I think you're seeing that, and I think you've seen in the performances as well. How many have boxed since the last podcast? I think Lerone was the last one, wasn't he?
We've had Harper out and we've had Jordan as well, all putting in fantastic performances.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so good to be in here, Performance Centre. Whenever I give anybody a tour around here, well, it's only one room, but telling them all about the kit and why we selected it and everything like that, and the testing kit that we've got, it's better than what I ever imagined us to have. It's always been a vision of ours to have our own facility. Obviously, that kind of got fast forwarded due to COVID and us doing well online and deciding to reinvest the money into building something worthwhile, meaningful, and hopefully will enhance the Boxing Science legacy. And we've got everything that we ever need in here. We've got the testing kit to test your strength, speed and power outputs. We've got Biosen for lactate analysis. We've got altitude training as well.
But we still got a shopping list as long as there's arm.
Yeah, we still want it. We still want it to be better. We want it. We think that we've got everything, and then there's something else that comes up, which is great because we're further enhancing our facility, but also the user experience and being able to understand more about our athletes, so then we can get more out of them, train them better, again fitter, faster, stronger, and also do our research as well. And that's something that's going to be important here as well.
Yeah, it's using the equipment to understand how our athletes are performing. And when we understand how our athletes are performing, when we take these measurements and assessments, then we can also improve as coaches as well.
Yeah.
So we know what works with particular athletes, or we know what works with them in general, and we can then use that information to build our training process, and then we can pass that on to you guys as well. Because remember, this is one of the reasons why we started Boxing Science, is to improve that knowledge base and our understanding of how to prepare boxers and combat athletes for competition. So the more we know, the more that we can investigate, the more that hopefully we can transfer that information, the more that you will know as well, and it becomes a more well-informed community that we've got, and we can make better decisions and better protect our athletes from injury and illness, and better protect them, in general as well. So I love it here. It's brilliant. I love it here. You love coaching down here as well, don't you?
I feel full of energy when I walk in at 7 o'clock in the morning and then leave at 8 o'clock at night with the same energy. But yeah, exactly what you're saying there, Alan, about we're learning in the gold standard setting where we've got all the access to the equipment, and we've always wanted to pass that on and to coaches that might not have access to that kit. And when COVID came about, and I haven't been in a proper gym like this and a proper lab for nearly a year, and I got a little bit of taste of that and how to adapt it. So not only will we get better research, but we'll have a better understanding of how we can adapt it around the facilities that a lot of people that are watching or listening to this will have. And when you're saying about knowledge transfer, the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most in here is delivering our workshops, our coaching workshops, which we would love to do from 2017 to the end of 2019, and that was our last one. I think your last one was about March 2019. So
it would have been March, yeah.
So you haven't done it for over 2 years then?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because what happened on the last one is that someone knocked me off my bike.
I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh because it ended up being quite serious.
I took a selfie of myself in the back of an ambulance with a neck brace on.
Yeah.
Sent it to you and Tommy and said, I don't think I'm making the course tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm really sorry, I don't think I'm making the course. And I'm like, is he joking here? And then obviously it wasn't a joke. It was quite a serious injury, and you were thinking about still trying to make it down. Yeah. But yeah, so like since then, I think the last one that we did in November, something came up where you couldn't come to that one. So it's gonna be brilliant. It's something that I really miss, because we meet people from all over the country, all over the world. We have people travel from Slovenia, Andorra, Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Just to come and listen to what we've got to say about training. So I think this is one thing that we want to do in terms of our podcast as well, because people like to listen to us talking about training, getting the knowledge bombs, and then on the move and where they can access it anywhere. So that's why we've kind of made the time to make sure that we're getting the podcast back up and running, and hopefully we can make an announcement on the workshops. These are going to be based at the Performance Centre from now on, rather than us kind of going on tour. Like I said, people travel from all over, so we can't really find a location that can suit anyone, whether we've been in London or Liverpool or Leeds. Now we've got a central base where we've got all the facilities to give you the best possible experience, and it's also right next to the motorway and next to the Premier Inn as well. And
don't forget the 4-star hotel up the road for the high rollers.
Tanksley Manor, if you're wanting a little bit
of
luxury.
So if anyone wants a spa day experience, it has got a spa, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Or you want to bring your significant other up, and they want to chill out.
Yeah. Plenty of things to do in Sheffield.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the Peak District on the doorsteps as well. So
plenty of good opportunities.
Absolutely. Meadowhall.
Yeah. Got everything. What were the key kind of learning things that you went through in terms of when we built the Performance Centre? A lot of people might be listening to this, might be looking to own their own gym or own their own gym. What are the key lessons? Because obviously it's the first gym that we've ever opened.
Well, I was really responsible for putting in the mirrors.
Yeah.
And buying the mirrors.
You've done a good job.
Thanks. No, so this will be, so I've done two gyms and one lab at the university. So it's kind of like the third gym that I've helped put together. But I think, first of all, is definitely understand your budget.
Yeah.
Definitely understand the budget that you've got, and especially in reference to the space that you're looking for. So we looked at we had ideas for a few different places, didn't we? Like, a few like warehouses and places like that.
Yeah.
And then we ended up settling on here, which is, we basically converted an office block into the gym. But it's lovely, it's light and it's airy. So I think it more often than not it comes down to budgeting and what you want to get out of your gym on your setting. What are the goals? What are your principles that underpin the need for a gym or a lab? What do you really want to get out of it? What are your goals for that facility? And then understanding how you can budget for those particular goals and aspirations in the short term and in the long term as well. So that's really important. Trying to build strong relationships with companies that can supply you with the things that you need. So Jordan Fitness have been absolutely fantastic to us.
Unbelievable.
HAB have been fantastic to us as well in terms of providing us with the altitude system, the Power Breathe altitude system, the treadmills. PhysiKeep have been fantastic with us, providing us with the body composition analyzer as well. And I could go on with some of the partners. But
Food Fusion supplying me with meals and helping me lose some lockdown weight.
But probably without the support of these companies and people, the people behind them, we probably wouldn't have been able to get what we've got here and to get that support.
And my future father-in-law, Norman Lawrence.
Oh,
if you need a handyman in the Greater Manchester area, definitely get on to Norman, because he's done an absolutely unbelievable job painting, helping put in the lights, putting up the telly, putting up the hooks on the wall. He literally did everything, ripping up the carpets.
So I guess you're saying all those kind of things there, but so what I've talked about is having that bird's eye view and having that aspirations and goals, but you also need to pay attention to detail. More so than you've probably ever done in anything else. Just the tiny little things that you need to consider, like the type of flooring, even the lighting. So the lighting that we've got is the best indoor lighting.
It's actually graded as daylight. So
when like a few years ago, when we're talking to students and master students about what skills they need to go into employment, and it was mainly, you can't just know how to do lifts, you've got to know how to do Excel, like spreadsheets and stuff like that.
And then you're thinking about all these other things that come on top, and that's our stopwatch. That's going off that fire alarm.
But it's like thinking about other things, like now, because social media is so important. He's thinking about little things like, okay, well, how is that going to be filmed to best illustrate the type of training that we do here? How can this be best used from an educational perspective?
It's weird to think that we actually thought about like the environment a little bit like a film studio, and thinking about how can we optimize the amount of reach that we can get through the visuals. And it's weird that it sounds like we're just doing it for Instagram, but we're not. We're doing it because we want to get our message out there and reach as many people as possible. And to do that, you need to have high quality video, and that's why we've got Jamie McAvoy of Epicam Productions on board doing some fantastic YouTube content and small clips on Instagram. But the general kind of shot on the iPhone, it makes it look really, really crisp because of the lighting in here. I think that all came from a conversation with Lee McMahon at Sheffield United. Lee was, or Macca as we all know him, he was like my original mentor, got me into personal training and fitness environment, and then kind of followed him through to Sheffield United, where I interned under him. And I always like go to him as a sounding board for good advice, and the piece of advice that changed everything from where we're planning, because I was just thinking equipment. He said, don't think too much about the equipment, but think about the environment that you're setting. So then I started thinking about colour schemes on the wall, because I was just thinking, right, just like, don't matter about what the wall is, it's all about what's in there. But he would think about what kind of emotion, you want to get athletes motivated to be coming in here, and that's why we've got the quotes on the wall. That's why it's a nice airy space and everything like that. We want people to be inspired and motivated to come and train here and enjoy training here as well, and I think that's what we've got out of our athletes. I think they absolutely love training here, and obviously they get the results as well.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Is it's trying to build that positive environment and a place where your athletes want to come and train, as well as like other things like location. How easy is it to get here?
Yeah.
Can they park up easy? How far is it away from certain locations? Key gyms and things like that.
Yeah.
But
so
definitely they love. They love coming in here. They love spending time in here. And so do like John's dad loves it in here as well, doesn't he? And so
a bit too much. But yeah, like saying, the location is key. It's 5 minutes away from 2 minutes away from the M1. Yeah. And we've had athletes that have come from Derby, from Manchester, that are just coming for like kind of weekly visits, and they're saying that they don't mind travelling because it's so easy to get to. It's literally about under an hour away from Manchester, under an hour away from Derby, and it's only about 20-30 minutes away from Leeds as well. So prime location that can open up, like, not only because there's only a limited amount of athletes and especially boxers in Sheffield, that we've got to think of a location where people want to travel to. And the last thing that you want, and this is kind of what I experienced when at the university, it was so hard to get to for some of the athletes, and then you have to think about parking. We had one athlete that literally trying to park for 20 minutes and then just left and went, I'll go and train somewhere else. And it's not great for the customer experience, is it? And that's what I've got to think about when you are opening a gym. It's not customer experience, but the athlete experience as well. The last thing you want to do is them coming in frustrated because of the location that you're in. So let's talk about some of the athletes that we've actually had here over the last 8 months. Some of the latest news we've had. Let's start off quite recently with Lerone Richards picking up the European title in style.
Absolutely.
And with a little sing-song of hot cross buns as well. That everybody keeps mentioning every time I put up a video post. So, we trained Lerone from June last year. He had one fight, 8-rounder in December, and then he was training from January all the way through to middle of May. A long training camp, but a training camp that we could really start tapping into his athletic potential, because he has got a lot of good genetics, and we're just about unlocking that. We did some muscle buffering work, didn't we, where we're doing 12 seconds on, 48 seconds off. We're supposed to get up to a certain lactate of between 10 and 12 millimole, and we just weren't finding it. We were sprinting at 29 kilometers an hour, and his lactates were quite low, and he was just like, right, I need to try and get him as fast as possible and lock that speed as much as I can. So his max speed went from like 29 kilometers an hour to, he broke my record begrudgingly, 33.4 kilometers
No, that's
an hour.
mine.
Do you hit 33.4?
And he's
Like joint leader.
33.8.
Pardon?
Isn't he 33.8?
No, 33.4.
Ah,
So you've
joint
equalled
leader.
it. You've equalled it. You've got to beat it. We've got to get a leaderboard in here. That's what we need. Moving on, Terry Harper. Obviously, she was supposed to be on that card on May 15th. She was headlining. Unfortunately, she had a reoccurring injury with her hand. Fortunately, the bone wasn't broke, and they haven't had to re-break it on the surgery. Basically, they made it a little bit better, done bone graft and done some put metal plates parallel to the bone on either side. So really, her hand should be stronger than ever, and it's important now is to keep on the progress that she made last camp, because some of the best results that I've ever seen from an athlete in terms of like one camp, in terms of strength, speed, and movement, and particularly conditioning on a lactate profile. And talking about Lerone and Terry's lactate profile, all we did was do like kind of high-end muscle buffering training, really high speeds, and then that unlocks like everything that's like underneath the hood.
Yep.
And I put a post out the other day on a Q&A when somebody asked about long steady state running to improve aerobic capacity. And I just put a post of Lerone, and just said I think he's dispelled the myth of the need for doing some long road running, because all he did was the sprint training, high intensity training, muscle buffering, and he just like boxed in second gear all night and looked like he could do about 20 rounds.
Absolutely. I think more than anyone we've trained in the past, they have been trained more like a sprinter. Both of those two athletes have trained more like sprinters than anyone else. Whereas before, we've always had a block of high intensity interval training. That might have been, around 4 up to 6 minutes or so. Again, this all depends on the type of athlete that we're working with. But, for example, for Lerone, he is very athletically gifted. And so we trained him more like a sprinter than anyone else. With Terry boxes over 2 rounds, so 2 minutes. So her
2 rounds if we unlock a
rounds,
power.
Her frequency of activity within a round is going to be much higher than male boxers, and so we had that in mind as well when we were programming her training about unlocking that ability to run at high intensities, and don't forget about the work that you did with them last summer and through the autumn as well, where they were doing runs on the field, muscle buffering on the field, and like Terry was doing those muscle buffering hill sprints as well, and building that foundation. So it's not like we've just gone train like a sprinter. As always, it's going through that process of understanding what type of athlete is in front of us, where we want them to get to, where they are now, and what steps we need to take, and what process we need to put in place in order to get to where they need to be, and taking the data, understanding their physiological responses at every key step, and making those important decisions along the way. But
they have like kind of high intensity genetics, both of them, and then they've both been training like endurance athletes. So then we switched that up, and that's why they've been able to adapt so well. Talk about Lerone winning the European title. Touch wood, Jordan's going to be fighting for that next. It's been made mandatory for the featherweight title. We don't know where that's going to be yet. It might be Spain, it might be UK, but he's ready now more than ever. Picked up some key experiences, got a huge training history now with boxing science, and totally changed as a boxer under Dave Caldwell. So he's got the maturity and the physical potential to go all the way. So we're excited for this next chapter. Is ranked highly in a couple of world governing bodies now, so gets this win hopefully this time next year, world champion. I'm
really looking forward to the next 18 months or so of Jordan's career, because I think now he's done all the learning he needs to do, and now it's a case of putting all that together, putting that training history together, putting everything that he's worked on with Dave together. I think in his next performance, you're going to see something special from him.
Absolutely.
I think he's going to do. I think he's going to do a job. On this European champion, and I think he's just going to kick on from there. So I'm really excited.
Don't realise how experienced he actually is as well. Most people won't. Like, he's been on so many world title camps and been around world champions. He's seen it all. He's just about
travelled
to do
the world.
He's
been to America, been to Japan, been over into Europe as well. Hasn't he? So done the apprenticeship. Sparred world champions, multiple world champions, multiple world title contenders. And there's a lot of things that he does that are underrated as well, and people people look at Jordan and just think, he's a great mover, his footwork's fantastic, and he throws great combinations and he's very precise, but you know, he does other things
Yeah.
really, really well as well. And I guess you only get to see that when they step up through the levels, and you know, you've got an opponent that's matching you.
I like it when I do the little promos and I slow everything down and watch everything, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. And I wouldn't see that unless I'm actually slowing it down. So it's so clever, and I actually enjoy doing it. But and I get a bit of grief from Robin when I'm spending 3 hours on a Sunday morning doing Le Mans highlights this Sunday.
Yeah, you texted, didn't you, on Sunday morning?
I was buzzing. Oh yeah, absolutely buzzing doing Le Mans thing, because I was like watching like little every frame.
And you had an idea for a research project off the back of that.
Yeah.
But if anyone doesn't know this, on YouTube you can slow down the playback speed, and you can watch all the little intricacies of your boxers or the boxers that you like watching, and you can look at the head movement and the head positioning and the feints and the footwork as well, which I find really interesting.
If you've got a spare 3 hours of your time to watch a 12-round fight, definitely watch it in slow-mo.
Yeah.
Other boxers that have been down here, Harper Price, Callum Beardo, Nikolai Campbell, they're all working hard and waiting for the next fights to be announced. And then we've just started working with Sandy Ryan, really excited about that, former GB boxer, silver at the World Championships, gold medalist at Commonwealth, so some fantastic pedigree, and she's come in, she's been on the GB programme for so many years, so she's got a great athletic profile as well. And it makes our job easier when they come in like that. And also, we're talking about people travelling in. The one that's probably the most committed to come and travel in is Fabio Wardley, the English heavyweight champion. He's now coming up to the Boxing Science Performance Centre. I think I've got him like every 2 or 3 weeks. And, we've been training Fabio for over a year, and we've done everything remotely. That's planning his conditioning, doing his strength training, and also him sending me videos of his techniques and adding like a few little coaching cues there, taking down numbers on the air bike. I don't know how he does that on his 30-second max out sprints and remember what numbers he's actually hitting. But when he came in and we tested him a couple of weeks ago, his numbers are fantastic. Like I've only met him once and we've done everything remotely, and he's making 10, 15, 20% improvements on his load velocity profile. His speed at the top end was getting up to like 40 and 50% improvements, and I've tried to explain to him about smallest worthwhile change. That's like, we won't get into that now, but we try and say like, right, a worthwhile change is anywhere between 3 and 4%. I'm like, right, you're making 10 times that improvement. So that's how excited I were when I were getting the numbers down, and only meeting him once and not being able to have that coaching time with him. It shows the power of our program when it's been done consistently. So if you're listening to this or watching this, wherever you are in the world, if you want to get on board with us, we can put together a remote training program, and you're going to get some fantastic results. I'm trying to think if I've missed out anyone else. Something that I've written down, something new for us, is Boxing Science _nutrition on Instagram. Again, Lee Rickard's, I'd say more involved. He started to work with more of our athletes. He's been working with us since the start of Boxing Science. And he started to work with Terry, working with Lerone, started working with Fabio and Sandy as well. And he's putting up some fantastic content on Instagram, and it's, we think it's one of the most important factors to sports science in boxing is getting their nutrition right. Yep. We've seen a camp absolutely decimated because the nutrition hasn't been done right, either at the start of camp or right at making weight. So it's a big factor for us to have a nutritionist here on board, improving our athletes, but also improving our content as well, educational content.
Absolutely. I mean, you can, diet's so important because you can kind of, at the start of the camp, if your diet is okay and you're kind of manipulating your calories so you can lose weight, then that's fine. But once you get to crunch point, or you've got to make weight, like I say, all the good work that you've done in the gym on fitness, if your diet's not right, then it can all be undone.
You can't out-train a bad diet.
No, you can't.
No.
You know, and you know, Lee's been working in football at Championship Premier League level now for years. You and Lee go back all the way.
Yeah.
To were you primary school?
No,
Secondary
comprehensive
school.
school. And we won the Sheffield Cup final in 2003.
Was that the one where Lee bowled out Joe Root?
Oh no, I'm on about football. Yeah.
Right.
If you weren't interested in Lee Rickards before, now you know that he's actually bowled out England captain, cricket captain, Joe Root out twice.
Twice,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's his greatest achievement. He never tells anybody. Tells everybody.
We need to have it on his bio.
Yeah. Imagine that. Boxing science _ nutrition. Nutritionist to boxers, world champions, and then bowled out Joe Root twice.
Brilliant. But if you haven't seen the Instagram page, boxing science _ nutrition, Lee posts recipes on there daily. All different types of recipes, pre-workout nutrition, post-workout nutrition, all the different smoothies that you can have. Just brilliant, loads of different ideas and content, and he's got some walkthrough videos as well of making certain recipes and supplements as well, which is a hotly debated topic across.
Yeah, I've just put a post out about creatine and everyone's gone mad.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lee's great. He's a lovely lad. Knows his stuff. You know, he's finishing up his PhD in nutrition. So
it's very close to the research as well. It's very updated on the research. He wouldn't put stuff out there if it's debated. No, like if you hear I would like talking to him about creatine and stuff like that, and some of the kind of perceived benefits, and he'll just be like, no, the research doesn't say that. He's really clued up and wouldn't put anything out there that isn't evidence backed, and wouldn't put anything into a diet that isn't evidence backed. And that's really important for what we do at Boxing Science, because we're close to the numbers. We do everything for a reason. Everything's evidence based, and to have nutritionists on board like Lee, that's going to be evidence based is important. And the thing is, you can't do any guesswork when it comes to making weight. Everything's got to be precise, because you've got people's livelihoods at stake, haven't you? So yes, it's fantastic to have Lee on board. He's actually doing a bespoke nutrition service now. So more information on that is going to be coming out on Instagram in the next couple of days. If you're wanting to sign up, he's only got limited spaces available. And also been working hard behind the scenes on, finally, Train Like a Champion 4, the much awaited programme. Obviously we've been doing programmes for over the past year. We've had our 10-week S&C programme, we've had the Red Zone circuits, we've had the HIT programme, the core training programme. Sounds like I'm absolutely plugging everything there, but just to be like, when I actually looked at when we actually did Train Like a Champion 3, that was in June 2018. And I'm thinking, why haven't we had this done? And obviously you look back on what we did in 2019, we got the website, subscription service set up, and then we started to do Train Like a Champion 4 at the start of 2020, and then COVID hit, and then nobody were able to go to the gym. So then we didn't want to prioritise that. We need to get some programmes out there that can be done with limited equipment. Now we've got Train Like a Champion 4, which is going to be our most advanced programme to date in terms of movement training, but particularly the strength and the high intensity conditioning as well. It's going to be a good programme.
It's brilliant. Yeah, just we're draft stage and almost final draft stage, looking at edits now on most of the books, aren't we? So the content, as usual, without blowing his own trumpet, is it's really high quality, but it's also really user friendly as well. And we talk you through, if you've got any of the other Train Like a Champions, you'll know that they're really easy to follow, really simple programs, but really effective as well. And this is no different. And we go through, you know, the science behind it all, the practice and the application of it, and then, you know, you've got the actual sessions as well. And it's a 10-week program, just with loads and loads of great quality information in there that's going to take your performance to the next level. And it's just full of stuff that we've learned over the last 3 years as well. So everything, you know, that we're learning and applying, we're transferring it over.
It's the closest thing that you'll get to the methods that we're actually delivering in here. Adding on to that, we do have the nutrition handbook with that, so a more detailed guide on nutrition for boxing. The Vanilla Gorilla Calambiro has just walked in, so that means that we're overrunning compared. What time is it now? So we've been going at about.
It's actually
40 minutes.
early.
It's early.
4 minutes early.
4 minutes early. Before we go, we can't leave without mentioning Kian, our new assistant S&C coach, sitting over there looking all coy.
New producer of the podcast.
Yeah, new producer of the podcast. He doesn't know it yet. But yeah, it's great to have Kian back and involved. Obviously, he was with us last year on work placement. He was supposed to be here for 6 months. He got lazy and went home after 3 months.
Actually, sent him home.
You know, COVID hit, and then he worked remotely. And you know, the amount of content that he provided us with and helped us with, like mentioning the programs that we've done, doing the articles, doing our boxing science Instagram as well, taking that from 10,000 followers to 85,000 followers, just through picking up so much content that we've done over the years. I'm flicking through my Instagram, and Kian's done a post of like a video of me 3 years ago, and I'm like, I hasn't got access to this. It's unbelievable. So yeah, really helpful, and really excited to having Kian back on board.
Yeah, Kian's he's a top lad. You're going to see more from Kian, you know, in the background of the shots and stuff like that. And at some point, he'll put all his notes together in his notepad. And it could become the essential coach's handbook for boxers and combat athletes.
Absolutely.
'Cause it's full of all the stuff that we can't remember and that we forgot.
but the main task for Kian is to be starting our like kind of amateur boxing program, doing that down at Sheffield City, and then getting the youth athlete initiative back up and running, because that was really important to us, wanting to give back to amateur boxing, but also increase the amount of education and knowledge around proper strength and conditioning, setting up them foundations so they're matching their technical development with the athletic development, which we've always wanted to do. When we first put together boxing science, our tagline was influencing the next generation of boxing. We feel like we've had an impact on a lot of it, but I think that we can do a lot more now that we've got Kian to come down, and hopefully some other interns are going to be working alongside him to start delivering these things out to these workshops, practical workshops. So it's not going to be sitting down and talking to them all about the science, but showing them the training technique, but also picking up some research as well, doing some testing, giving them some feedback on their strengths and areas for improvement, but also enhancing our understanding and knowledge about youth amateurs. So yeah, I think that's a great reintroduction of the podcast. I'm going to find out what episode it actually is, and you know, if you're not a subscriber yet, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to be putting out more content, I think at least once a week, whether that's a sit down with me and Alan, snippets from our YouTube, Q&A sessions, or interviews with some guest speakers. So thanks a lot, Alan, for getting involved, and hopefully see you all on the next podcast.